Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 478, written by Repulsive Tomatilo 2. Secrets of my waifu vanishing in a poof. I just got home from work around an hour ago. I have these dreams every night where this Japanese girl is always riding shotgun in my dream car, which is a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner, for anyone who may want to know. The dreams have been getting a little too realistic for my taste. For example, she has a whole name, first, middle, and last. Either way, the dreams almost always consist of me and her driving and laughing to some dumb jokes. Back to reality. Well, tonight on my way home, I decided to just glance over to the passenger mirror, and she's just sitting there, same hair, clothes. It was her. I'm not sure why, but I wasn't really unnerved in any way by this, until she looked over at me and smiled. I smiled back and she was gone. Poof, she vanished, as if she was never there. Hell, the seatbelt was undone. I'm honestly not sure how to feel about this, y'all. I'm guessing that in another reality or universe, I got the girl of my dreams. I guess that dreams can be realities, but could there be an actual meaning behind this? Case notes, file number 478. I like your theory that in another universe, you got the girl of your dreams, and seemingly peered into that universe, briefly, only to see her vanish moments later. It's sad in a sense, isn't it? But also in another, extremely exciting. We're playing a game, folks, and that game has nearly infinite possibilities, and they're all being run concurrently to our own. Maybe it's as simple as we're the real conscious players, and the other universes are simulations. That's why if, for example, in quantum immortality, we die, we can just jump our consciousness to another version of ourselves, without that other self's consciousness being erased or anything. Maybe right now, they're on a sort of programmed autopilot, waiting for a player to occupy them. Case file number 479, written by ohfail, Secrets of Becoming Someone Else. This story isn't creepy, but it's so vivid and distinct that I still think about it years later. I had a, subjectively, long, involved dream where I was a vendor in a fish market. I remember getting up early, dressing, doing a whole morning routine, going to get tea, heading out to the docks, buying fish, loading them in a cart and going to get ice, then haggling for ice, buying some less fresh fish while I was at it, then going to a market to my stall, setting up and selling fish all day. It was so real. I talked to friends, smoked nasty cigarettes, haggled customers, ate lunch, had tea, and just lived through the day. At the end of the day, I cleaned up, counted my cash, paid the stall rent, went home, cooked some of the fish I hadn't sold, slung in with some veggies and rice that I'd traded for. I drank more tea, relaxed for a while, then drew a hot bath, soaked and smoked some more cigs, then went to bed. The next morning, I woke up refreshed, ready to go down to the docks to buy fresh catch. Except I was in my house next to my wife, truck parked outside, and it was Saturday, no work. My wife and I were getting geared up to go skiing in Oregon, and the car was already packed. Weird thing was, in the dream, I was single and a smoker. I'm not in real life. And the whole dream, I had been fluent in Chinese. The effortless kind of fluency that only comes from a lifetime of speaking it. Oh, and I had been Chinese. I'm a big, hairy white dude, somewhat fluent in Spanish, and I know a little bit of Russian, but I've never. It was just weird. I've never worked in a fish market. I wonder who it was. I wonder what that was. Case file number 480, written by Anonymous, Secrets of the 23rd Floor's Entity. I work as a security/nighttime attendant at an apartment building. It's 24 stories and one of the oldest buildings in the city. One night I'm sitting here when my phone rings at about 3 a.m. and I answer. Hello, this is Draven at the front desk. How can I help you? The voice on the other end sounded female, but was totally garbled, and the only bit I could make out was 23rd floor. I tried to tell the person I couldn't understand them and asked what apartment they were in, but again, garbled response and 23rd floor. After the third time of trying to understand them and the same response, I said since I couldn't understand them, I'd come up and meet them in the hallway. So I go to the main elevators, and both are up on the, surprise, 23rd floor. Luckily, we have an older service elevator, and it's only on the 7th floor, so I call it down. I get it and hit the button for the 23rd floor, but it won't move and the inner door won't close. So I go to unlock the reset panel and boom, we start going up. The door is still open. I'm freaking out and the elevator is shaking because it goes pretty fast and is old. As I'm going up, I just stay towards the back and finally I reach floor 23. I step out. The door closes just fine and I look around the hallway. There's nobody around. I walk along slowly, trying to listen for anyone awake who might have called, but there's nothing. So now I head the opposite direction and go towards where the regular elevators are, and when I get to them, they are just sitting there with their doors open. I was pretty freaked out, but I knew it could have just been the elevators on the fritz, so I get in and figure I'll just reset them when I get to floor 1, when I hear the sound of the back stairwell closing. So I quickly get out and go to the stairwell, and lo and behold, no one's there. But the maintenance door to the machine room is ajar, and at that time I'm the only one in the building with a key. At the top of the building is a large machine room housing all the really loud machinery that does stuff in the building and allows access to the roof. I don't like going into it because it's creepy as hell and no one ever goes there, so at this point I'm seriously freaked out, but I muster up and head in. I shout, "Hello?" And there's no response. The lights in this room flicker because they're crappy fluorescent, so I can't see well either. But at the end of the room, I can make out the roof access door, and sure as hell, it's slightly open. So I slowly continue forward, checking the space in between each machine as I walk by, and there's no one there, so I open the roof access door. I can't see anyone ahead of me on the roof, but there is a slight wraparound, and if there was a jumper or something, I needed to be sure. So I step out and leave the door ajar like it was. Almost immediately, the door is pulled shut. Now I might have written it off as wind or something, but this door is hard as hell to shut, and really hard to open too. Really hard. I immediately grab the handle and hank it open, slam it behind me and run straight for the maintenance door. It automatically locks when it's closed, so I slam it shut too and go back to the 23rd floor hallway. Get into the elevator, doors are still open, and go all the way down to the first floor. I go back to the main lobby, and as soon as I sit down, the phone rings. I pick it up, don't say a word, and sure as hell, the same voice from earlier, garbled, again only audibly saying, 23rd floor. I hung up the phone, turned the ringer off, and spent the rest of the evening just staring at the parking garage security monitor. There's been a bunch of creepy things happening at this building. It's basically like the Overlook Hotel at night. I walked past the dark room here on the first floor once and swore I saw myself standing inside it. The next night, as I'm inside said room cleaning, the lights flip off and I turn around to see a quick flash of myself walking past. Case file number 481, written by notoriouslynobody. Secrets of Fluid Time. This morning was a normal morning. Woke up at 7, showered, made coffee and breakfast, got dressed and left for work at 8. My Ring video has me on camera leaving at 8 a.m. I sat in my car, started a podcast that's just over 1.5 hours long, and began my drive to work that takes at least an hour with zero traffic. I began to panic about the amount of traffic this morning because it was taking a long time to get to work. Then something really wild happened. My podcast ended. I'd listened to the entire episode. Horrified, I looked at my clock and it read 8:27. What? How? It's only been 27 minutes. My car clock had to be wrong. I scrambled to check my cell phone. It said the same thing. I pulled over in a full-blown panic. I checked my Ring camera to see if I'd left early. Nope, 8 a.m. I couldn't make any sense of it at all. I pulled my podcast player up and made sure the episode was 87 minutes long. What the hell? So I started the next episode and continued my drive to work. Finally got there and parked. It's only 8:54. That's the fastest I've ever gotten to work, with some of the heaviest traffic I've ever seen. So much so that while pulled over, I logged into my time clock system and sent a warning to management that I may be late due to traffic. Now I'm a half hour early. I have no idea what just happened. Bonus file, written by Sonora, Secrets of the Screaming Demon Right in My Face. A few years ago, I worked in this restaurant that was newly renovated. It was a Chinese restaurant before, but it closed because the man who had owned it before had died in the office, I think. There were 3 of us in the kitchen this one particular day, 2 of us on the cook line and 1 on the dishwasher. If you have ever been in a restaurant kitchen, then you know all the background noise there is. What with the dishwasher, the big stove and grill fans, and the large refrigerator and freezers you can always hear. Well, all of a sudden, it just goes dead quiet. At first, I thought it was just me, but the other 2 also looked up, confused. I was the first one to walk off the cook line and check the refrigerators and freezers and the hood fans to make sure they were all still on, and they were. But back in the main cook line and dishwashing area, it was dead silent. We all kind of just stood there for a couple minutes, absolutely bewildered. After a couple minutes, the sound slowly started to fade back. Suddenly, I didn't feel so good. I started having tunnel vision and felt nauseous. My boss, who was with us in the kitchen that day, told me to go outside for a while until I felt better. While I was outside, I saw her rush into the office and then I heard her make a phone call. She called someone and told them she was letting us go early, and then she asked them to bring her some sage, an abalone shell, a feather, and some kind of oil. It turns out that she felt something walk through her. Damn it. I was standing right behind her, inches away. I left and drove as freaking fast as I could to get as far away as possible from there. I swear, I barely slept that night, but every time I closed my eyes and started to drift off, I got a picture of a screaming demon thing right in my face.